An ambidex gate has been opened. 45 minutes remain until ambidex game polling closes.
Sorry, I went ahead and cracked it open a bit early.
Dio. In one of his hands was a moon key. He twirled it around like a veteran gambler, grinned, and slid it back into his pocket.
You don't mind, right? I figured you and Clover would get up here right away. Besides, I thought it'd be best to get this done soon before you lose your nerve. I don't know about you, I'm really looking forward to the next round.
Ugh. I glanced around the warehouse. Alice and Kay were back, as was Phi. And, of course, Clover. Where are Tenmyoji and the rest of them?
They're in the infirmary.
We carried Quark to one of the beds. Tenmyoji and Luna are looking after him.
I see.
How's he doing? Well, it's hard to say. He seems to be sleeping soundly, but beyond that, there's really no way to know.
No change then, huh?
Right.
So what was your room, Sigma?
A laboratory.
Is that so?
Did it look like the kind of place where they'd be researching viruses and DNA and those kinds of things?
Yeah, it did. Was there any of that Excelivir?
Don't tell those other idiots that you found some Excelivir in here. I hear one word about it, and the next thing you hear will be little bits of glass shattering on the floor.
My eyes flicked to Dio for a moment. No, nothing. Beside me, Clover bit her lip.
I see.
So, how'd it go with you? Find anything interesting? Phi only shook her head. With a unison of movement that almost looked choreographed, Alice and Kay shrugged.
Where does that leave us? We still got about 40 minutes left until voting ends.
What are you gonna do?
I'm a little curious about that lab you found. I thought I might go take a peek at it.
I'll show you the way then.
That would be wonderful.
I think I'll go have a look at the room Alice, Kay, and Tenmyoji found. Never know. Maybe you missed something. Perhaps there's some Excelivir hidden somewhere in there.
What a bastard.
Then I shall take you there.
What about you two? Where are you going?
Well, I think I'll start by heading over to the infirmary to see how Quark's doing.
Then I will too.
Glad that's settled.
She nodded to Clover, and they disappeared through the magenta door. Dio and Kay followed a few footsteps behind. Okay then. Guess we should be going too.
Hold on. Show me that journal first. Dio told me about it. You wouldn't tell me anything about the lab, except that you found a journal with, his words, some sort of bullshit language. He said you had it, so I was hoping I could take a look.
Yeah. One sec. I dug the journal out of my pocket and handed it to Phi. She began to flip through the pages, her eyes quickly scanning each one.
This is Latin.
Latin? You mean you can read it?
Yeah, with time and a dictionary.
So in other words, no.
Pardon me for not being able to translate a dead language on the fly. This looks like some kind of research log. It's not going to be some sort of, I took the dog for a walk today. It was nice kind of stuff. I can understand a little of it, mostly conjunctions and things like that. But most of these words I've never even seen before.
Phi started to leaf through the book again as she spoke. Then suddenly she stopped.
Wait. I can read this one. Page 216. This isn't research notes. It looks like a personal entry.
What's it say?
Rush me? This is gonna take a minute. Interesting. Alright, I think I got it. It looks like they're talking about Radical 6.
What? Why are they talking about that?
Not sure. Let me read it to you. Keep in mind I'm paraphrasing.
When the body is infected with Radical 6, the processing speed of the brain is reduced. If we assume the brain currently operates on a one-to-one basis with regards to time, Radical 6 reduces this to 1 to root of 1/6, or approximately 1 to 0.408. This means that for each second that passes outside, the patient feels that only 0.408 seconds have passed inside. Therefore, when 1 second has passed inside, approximately 2.45 seconds, or root to 6 seconds, have passed outside. In other words, when 10 seconds pass in the real world, a patient infected with Radical 6 would feel as if only 4 seconds had passed. This is why the virus has been termed Radical 6. Radical is another term for what is also known as the root operation, the function inverse to the taking of a power. In less mathematical sense, it can also be used to refer to something that is extreme or severe. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide. The exact cause of this is unclear, and although there is as yet no direct link between suicidal urges and the reduction in mental processing speed, many believe that they are not unrelated. Those infected with Radical 6 perceive the world to be moving at a fever pitch, as if it were a video cassette being fast-forwarded. For instance, although the patient believes that only 10 seconds have passed, in fact 24.5 seconds have passed. Given this increased speed of input, maintaining the ability to observe and reason would become a Herculean task. One theory holds that the disparity in time perception causes the brain to be flooded with massive amounts of information. Unable to keep up, it begins to fail. Whatever the cause, the infected invariably attempt to take their own lives, which is arguably the most terrifying aspect of this virus. Research suggests that a targeted antiviral could kill or at least disable Radical 6, but we have been unable to develop one. It seems our best hope now is to harvest antibodies from someone with a natural immunity to the virus. Thus far, however, we have been unable to locate a suitable subject, so I have continued my efforts to discover an alternative means of treatment. Given my current rate of progress, I predict that I will have a workable treatment within a decade or two. It is my fervent hope that humanity will be able to survive that long. The bodies of those dead from suicide are piled up along the roads leading into and out of town. The entire area reeks with the stench of decay, and the sky is filled with the constant buzzing of flies. At times, their swarms are so thick that when one passes it feels as if a cloud has gone over the sun. Every day I see more crows and rats are everywhere, feeding on the dead. Ironically, the only healthy-looking creatures are the stray cats, who have grown fat on a plentiful rodent diet. The few humans who survived the outbreak have been locked away by the government in underground shelters. I don't know how many were saved, but I fear only a handful. Their survival is the only hope that remains for the human race. Oh Lord, please, let their future be a bright one. Whoa, that's a lot of information. Now we know what the virus does to you, though. If you get infected, your brain slows down by the root of 1/6. That's, what, about 40%?
That isn't the important part. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide.
Yeah, you're right. That would explain why Quark was, well, trying to kill himself.
There are two other things in here that worry me. First, the part about how they haven't managed to develop a treatment for it yet. What do you make of that?
What am I supposed to make of it? Maybe they just hadn't found one when this journal was written. I mean, from what we know, there's a drug called Axilovir that cures it.
Exactly. But in the journal it says it might take 20 years to make something like that.
Hold on a second. I'm getting confused. When was this thing even written?
December 29th. No year.
Well, there's no way it was written this year.
Yeah, probably not. Anyway, moving on. The second concern I have is about the underground shelters it mentions. The newspaper article said something about quarantining people too. After we read it, we all thought the same thing. What if this was one of those quarantine facilities? But this journal seems to suggest the opposite. The few humans who survived the outbreak have been locked away by the government in underground shelters.
You're trying to say that this place might be one of those underground shelters, which would mean we're all supposed to be uninfected. We would have been thrown in here to keep us safe.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way to say for sure at this point, but it seems possible.
But Quark's been infected, right?
Maybe the virus got in somehow.
That would be bad.
Just think about it for a minute. If this is one of those shelters, a lot of things start to make sense. Maybe we've been here for a long time. Like, maybe they put us to sleep somehow. Made us sleep for years, maybe even decades. While we were sleeping, the pandemic that the newspaper article talked about happened. And whoever had this journal made this entry.
And then once the antiviral treatment was finished, they woke us up?
Right. It's all just speculation, but...
No, that doesn't make sense. I mean, it seems like a pretty plausible scenario, but... we were all captured before the pandemic started, right?
Yeah.
And how would they have put us to sleep for that long? How would they have known to do that? But most importantly, why the hell are we playing the nonary game if the point of this place is to save us? Throwing a bunch of people into a game that might kill them is a pretty weird way to protect them from a pandemic.
Yeah, you're right.
See?
We don't have enough information to make any real conclusions. I think we should see if we can find anything else.
Vi had barely finished speaking before she took off for the magenta door. Hey, weren't you coming to the infirmary with me?
Changed my mind. You can tell me about Quark later.
And with that... she was gone. Man. I let out a long, tired sigh and started off toward the infirmary. How's he doing?
He seems to be stable, as far as I can tell.
Still sleeping.
I see. Mind if I have a look?
Please, go ahead.
I made my way around the partition to the side of Quark's bed. The journal and the thing Fine I had talked about would definitely need to be addressed, but for the moment the AB game was what I needed to concentrate on. Lives were at stake. Mine and Quark's. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide. If the journal was telling the truth, then as soon as the anesthetic wore off, Quark would go insane again. What if we weren't able to restrain him a second time? What if he managed to kill himself before we got to him? Or perhaps he'd just get out of the infirmary and go hide somewhere. On the other hand, it wasn't like we could keep anesthetizing him forever. There was only one way to save Quark, and that was with Excelivir. Unfortunately, Dio had stolen it. If we wanted to get it back, Clover and I would have to vote ally. But if I did, there was an excellent chance I would end up dead. The question was, then, what to do? Sacrifice myself to save Quark? Or keep quiet about the danger he was in to save myself? It was so faint, I almost didn't hear it.
Grandpa. Grandpa.
He shifted a little, then fell silent again. It was enough, though. What on earth had I been thinking? How could I have even considered letting a child die in my place? Suddenly, my cheeks felt hot with embarrassment and disgust. That I had considered letting Quark die, even for a minute, was pathetic. There is only one choice. There had only ever been one choice. No way was I going to leave Quark to die. My hands tightened into fists as I looked down at him. Any uncertainty I'd felt before was gone. I knew what I had to do.
10 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes. All players, please enter your votes. If no vote is recorded before the deadline has passed, any non-voting parties will automatically ally.
Looks like it's almost time. You two should head back.
What about you?
I'm going. I'm worried about Quark.
But you're a solo. If you don't vote...
I'll automatically ally. I know. I heard the voice on the intercom just like you.
What are you going to do if Kay and Alice vote betray?
Nothing, I suppose. Just means I lost that round. I'd just be voting ally anyway. You know who my opponents are, right? Alice only has one BP left. If I pick betray and they chose ally, I'd kill her. I'm not so desperate to escape that I'm gonna kill someone for it. And even if I was, I can't leave Quark behind. You see? Doesn't matter if I go into the AB room or not. My vote's the same either way.
Tenmyoji's mind was made up. Trying to persuade him to leave would have been pointless. All right. Take care of Quark.
Of course. You worry about yourself.
Let's go.
Okay.
Luna and I headed out of the infirmary, leaving Tenmyoji and Quark behind. When we got to the warehouse, we found everyone else waiting for us. Well, not quite everyone. One other person was missing. Hey, where's Dio?
Look at the doors.
They're all closed. When we came in here before, the one on the far right was open.
And that would mean...
That he went in, I guess.
Exactly.
That bastard. He'd probably been worried I might try and take the Axlevier from him by force, so he'd hidden himself in the AB room. What a coward. I made up my mind to choose ally, no matter what, but part of me had still considered trying to jump Dio if he dropped his guard. Now he'd made sure I wouldn't get the chance to try.
Where's Tenmyoji?
Oh,
Luna explained Tenmyoji's choice.
I see. Well, I guess that means I don't have to worry about him picking betray.
right. What will you guys be choosing then?
Ally, of course.
Because my BP is 6, I assume.
Yes. As long as Tenmyoji votes ally, I can't choose betray. If I do, Kay's BP will go up to 9.
But what if he forces you?
You needn't worry. I would never do something so crass.
Really?
Of course.
Then you don't need to go in there.
Excuse me?
Alice can vote by herself. Then we don't have anything to worry about, right?
Well, I apologize, but I'm afraid I can't agree to that.
Why not?
I just can't. Shall we go, Alice?
Hey, hold on a minute there.
Kay continued briskly toward the AB room as if he simply hadn't heard Phi. Alice scrambled to follow him, perhaps concerned that he would lock her out. Only seconds later, they disappeared into the third room from the left.
I hope Alice is going to be okay.
Well, there's nothing we can do now. If Kay told the truth, she'll be fine.
5 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes.
Time's almost up. Come on, Luna.
Right.
They headed off at a trot toward the second room from the right, and were soon out of sight inside it. All right, Clover, time for us to go.
Okay. Right behind you.
I sighed to myself and headed toward the leftmost AB room.
What are you gonna do?
I don't really have a choice, do I? There's only one thing I can do. I'm going to choose Ally.
You can't! You'll die!
Well, you never know. Just because Dio told us to ally doesn't necessarily mean he's going to pick Betray.
You really think a jerk like that is going to choose Ally if he doesn't have to? No. No way. He's got 6 BP right now. If he picks Betray, then he'll have 9 points.
Well, what about you?
Huh?
You've got 6 BP too, right? If Dio chose Ally and we chose Betray, then you'd have 9 BP.
What? No, that's not... I didn't even realize that until you brought it up. I'm just trying to tell you that Dio is going to pick Betray. That's who he is.
And I'm trying to tell you that I've made up my mind. That's who I am. The only choice is Ally. It's the only chance we have to get that medicine back.
That's why Dio called you an IG. What makes you think he's going to give us the Excalibur, even if you do what he says?
Maybe he won't, but I can guarantee that he'll destroy it if I pick Betray. That's who he is.
Fine. If you aren't gonna listen to me, then I guess I don't have a choice. I'll be pushing that button.
Huh? Before I realized what was going on, Clover ducked past me and ran toward the voting machine. No! Stop! I snatched her by the arm and hauled backward with all my strength.
Ow!
Sorry. Guess that was a little too hard, huh?
Hey! What do you think you're doing? You can't just throw a girl around like that.
Well, you're the one who tried to trick me.
But you're gonna die. Dio's going to kill you. You can't do this. I don't want you to die.
Ten seconds remain until Ambidex game polling closes.
Thanks. It means a lot to hear you say that, Clover. I gave her my best reassuring nod and turned to face the polling machine.
3, 2, 1. Round 2 of the Ambidex game has been completed. Results will be displayed in the warehouse. Thank you for your participation. Ambidex gates now opening.
Clover and I stepped out of the AB room. For several long moments, we just stared at one another. Words weren't necessary. Everything she would have tried to tell me, I could already see in her eyes. Let's go. I turned and headed toward the results screen.
Sigma.
I heard her behind me, her voice barely louder than a whisper. The choice was already made. I stood up straight and kept walking. Knew it.
Results from round 2 of the Ambidex game will now be displayed. Please check your bracelet to see your updated bracelet points.
What?
Sigma's BP is...
Negative.
Suddenly, all eyes were on me. I felt their weight, but stood my ground. It was the result I had expected. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. I didn't have to wait long. There was a sharp, quick pain in my wrist, barely even noticeable. I couldn't feel anything flowing into my veins, but I knew it was there. First would be the anesthetic Soparil. I blinked, and my vision started to blur. When I tried to think, it felt like my mind had been stuffed with cotton. My legs began to wobble, then gave out entirely as I crumpled to the floor.
Sigma! Sigma! Hang on! Hey! Sigma! Get up!
Sigma!
Oh no! Oh no, oh no, oh no!
Trying to open my eyelids was like trying to lift sheets of lead. My eyes had lost the ability to focus, but I could make out a blur that had to be Dio in front of the number 9 door. Damn it. You'll keep your promise. God damn it. I groaned, and with a Herculean effort lifted my head and then my sluggish body off the floor. Every step was a battle, and whenever I shifted my weight, my muscles threatened to give out again. But somehow I forced myself ahead, a single thought burning in my mind. I would reach Dio. Then, at last, the smudge of color faded into a recognizable person. I threw out my hand in front of him. Give it back. Give me the medicine.
Give it back. Don't act like it's yours. Aren't we supposed to share everything we find here?
I don't care. Just hand me the medicine.
What are you talking about?
We found the Axelavir in the laboratory.
And Dio stole it.
What?
You mean he has it? Right now?
Yeah. So?
I kept my promise. Now you. I wasn't a fool. I knew the kind of person Dio was. There was a chance he wouldn't give us back the Axelavir. If he didn't, then I'd die with my hands around his throat. I gathered as much of my mind as I could and got ready to attack.
Fine.
Not quite what I'd been expecting.
Here.
With a shrug, he pulled the vial out of his pocket and tossed it toward me. I caught it and pulled the tiny glass bottle to my chest, worried I might drop it. The label said, unmistakably, Axelavir. It was the real thing. Clover, take it. I held it out toward her.
Right. Of course.
She quickly tucked it into her pocket. Good. Now at least Quark will be all right. With that, the last of my strength left me, and I dropped to my knees.
Sigma, are you okay? Sigma! Sigma!
I guess this is it.
First, is this over real? Which puts you to sleep. 9 minutes later, the tubocurarine is injected, numbing your respiratory muscles. I guess you could say it'll really take your breath away.
9 minutes. Once the Soparil was injected, I had 9 minutes until the muscle relaxant followed it. About 4 minutes had already passed, which left me with 5, give or take a little. In 5 minutes, I would be dead. What could I do in 5 minutes? How could I save myself? I gave a raspy, quiet laugh. Even with death staring me in the face, I seemed to be determined to struggle right up until the very end. Okay, Sigma. You can do this. Clinging desperately to what little consciousness I had left, I racked my brain for any possible solutions. How could I save myself? How? There had to be something. Every problem, no matter how difficult, has a solution. There's always another option. Hopelessness is a state of mind. I just had to think. Think. If there was a way out, I'd find it. I wasn't ready to give up on life yet. There had to be an answer. Wow. So another to be continued. Okay. Let's betray Dio, the asshole.
Round 2 of the Ambidex game has been completed. Results will be displayed in the warehouse. Thank you for your participation. Ambidex gates now opening.
Clover and I walked slowly out of the AB room. Dio glanced over at us as he exited his own room. I looked away before he could make eye contact.
Sigma, why? After all that stuff you said. I mean, it's not like I'm criticizing you. I think you made the right decision.
Sorry.
You don't need to apologize. I think I would have chosen Betray if I was in your position.
Well, you were about to.
We'll find another way, all right? We just have to keep an eye on Dio. As soon as he gives us an opening, we take it. And I'm sure Alice will help us too.
Did you tell her?
It's okay. We can trust Alice. There's no way she told him. Anyway, let's go check the results.
Yeah.
Results from round 2 of the Ambidex game will now be displayed. Please check your bracelet to see your updated bracelet points.
Hey, what the hell is this?
Sorry, I decided to choose Betray.
Oh, so you don't care what happens to Quark?
What kind of a cold-hearted bastard are you?
Jeez.
Please, just give it back.
Hey, Sigma? What are you talking about?
We found the Axelavir in the laboratory.
And Dio stole it.
What? You mean he has it? Right now?
Nah, I don't have it.
What?
Well, I won't have it in about 2 seconds.
The moment the words left his mouth, I knew what he planned to do. No, don't! I leaped toward him as I spoke, but it was already too late. Dio snatched the vial out of his pocket, brought it up, and threw it to the ground.
No!
You bastard!
What are you doing?
A promise is a promise. If you'd chosen ally, this never would have happened. You want to blame someone? Blame yourselves.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Ugh. I'd had enough. Something snapped in my brain. Bastard! Ah! I let out a guttural roar and leaped forward, only to be stopped short by a firm hand on my arm. It was Phi.
Hold it.
Why are you stopping me?
Because this isn't the time for that.
Oh, shut up. Huh? What do you mean this isn't the time for...
The number 9 door.
Kay? Kay was indeed standing in front of the door. What is he?
No!
9. His BP is 9.
What?
Suddenly, we were all running toward Kay and the number 9 door. Kay? What the hell do you think you're doing?
What am I doing? Well, that should be obvious. But if you insist, I am attempting to leave.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I assure you, I would do no such thing. I am perfectly serious. After a rational assessment of the facts, I have concluded that this is the wisest course of action. What is currently our highest priority? The answer is, of course, to save Quark. He must be taken to a hospital as soon as possible. For that to happen, one of us must escape and call for help. Currently, the only one of us capable of doing so is myself. That is why I intend to escape.
And leave us all behind.
Unavoidable, but as I said, I do intend to call for help.
Couldn't you have at least waited until the next round? Then you could have raised Quark's BP to 9 and taken him with you.
And what would happen if Dio was Quark's opponent in the next round? I have no illusions about what Dio would do. This is the most logical choice.
The number 9 door has been opened. It will remain open for 9 seconds.
Wait! Where's Alice?
Ah, yes. Alice is in the AB room. She has collapsed, but you needn't be concerned. She is only sleeping.
LOL, I knocked her out.
Oh no. What did you do to Alice?
You will need to ask her yourself. I must take my leave.
Hey! God damn it! Wait!
Dio charged at Kay, but the larger man easily sidestepped him and tumbled nimbly through the door just before it closed.
The number 9 door has closed. This ends the nonary game. Thank you for your participation. As the game is over, all doors other than the number 9 door have been unlocked. Escape is not possible. Please enjoy your stay.
All right, another game over. I like this, but it's kind of annoying with the endings that are locked. Because I've only gotten one ending. But all the other endings I need to unlock. And then I think this one is like the actual ending. Or something of the sort. But I need to know the password and stuff to actually continue. And I don't know it. Okay. So next time, we'll betray Tenmyoji and see what goes on from there. Soon we'll be going through with Quark. And it looks like we'll probably get some other bad endings. Okay, well, thanks for watching.